On May 22nd, 2025, we saw Universal's Epic Universe open up to the public on its opening day. This is Universal's Florida's Resorts brand new theme park. And the opening of this theme park really is a major milestone in the amusement industry, at least to me, because it marks the beginning of a new era where we're going to see a lot more theme parks opening, and we have been seeing a lot more theme parks opening. It's really a new narrative in the theme park industries. Parks like Lost Island, Mattel Adventure Park in Arizona, Universal's Epic Universe, the Universal's proposed parks in Oklahoma and the United Kingdom. This is really a huge milestone, and it shows that, even though there are so many big theme parks, you still can open a brand new theme park and it can succeed. Not all these parks have been great success stories, like Lost Island in Iowa, but it really has potential to be a great park, and I think its first few years were not the greatest years, but for moving forward, I do think that Lost Island will succeed a lot, and it's like I said, it goes to show that even though we have huge park chains like Six Flags, SeaWorld, Disney, and Universal, we can still see brand new theme parks opening up and succeed. Now, some of these parks, like Mattel Adventure Park, who knows when it's going to open? It was supposed to open multiple years ago, and it still hasn't opened. I believe it's supposed to open at the end of this year. Who knows? They may delay it more. And then, the two other parks that Universal is working on, of course, they are just concepts at this point. There is no ground has not broke on either of these projects, but it still is a huge a new narrative, as I said earlier, and it's definitely a lot different compared to the past 20 years, because back in the 70s, the 60s, 70s, and 80s, we saw tons of parks being built, tons of parks opening. Kings Island, the Disney parks, multiple of the Six Flags parks, and a lot of parks opened during that time period. But then the 90s, 2000s, we did not see a ton of parks open. The last major park that opened in the United States was probably Islands of Adventure, Universal's Islands of Adventure, the last major park that opened. So we saw a huge time period where we had barely any theme parks opened. And then the narrative just shifts, and we see tons of parks opening, tons of parks being planned, tons of parks being announced. And it can be good or bad depending on how you look at it. It's good because there's more competition, but at the same point, there are disadvantages, but there's not a ton of disadvantages. It's good, and I think it is good going forward to see more parks opening. And if these parks can really go as fast as Universal's Epic Universe went, from when they broke ground on it, was really only 7 years, which, I guess that's not that quick, but, it originally was supposed to open in 2023, so that would have just been 5 years. But nevertheless, it looks to be a good thing for more and more parks to open, and I hope that keeps on going. I hope that's a trend, and especially markets like Alaska, markets like Wyoming, places like that have no theme parks. I would really hope to see some of these companies go into those areas and open theme parks, because these are great opportunities. They might not have a ton of residents in the area, but at the same point, there's no competition, so if they do it right, if they go about doing it right, like up in Alaska, of course, it would probably be an indoor park, but if they do it right, it could really work, and it could be a great investment strategy to do that. And I personally think it would be a great idea, because these markets have no theme parks, and the people around there, they really haven't experienced going to a theme park, going to a theme park unless they go on a long trip to the next closest theme park. So it would be a great opportunity to take off from that point now that we're opening a ton of theme parks and go into markets that don't have any theme parks. You know, that might be a little more tricky because of climate, because of population, many things like that. But if they do it right, they go about doing it right, and, you know, the lineups in these parks are good, the ride lineup, and if overall it's a good atmosphere in the park, because in theory it is a good idea, but not always everything in theory turns out to be a good thing. But it has a lot of potential, and if they play their cards right, they go into these markets, open these theme parks in markets that don't have any theme parks. It would be a great idea, and it really could, you know, make a lot more people enjoy these theme parks. And, you know, if it is a chain, Six Flags, Hershend, Universal, Disney, it doesn't matter which chain. And if they get their name out there, it really could help, because these people in these markets, you know, if they like traveling and they experience this theme park, they might be like, oh, I really like theme parks. So then if they're traveling somewhere and this chain, if they get their name out there, this chain has a park in the place they're traveling to, it could really be good, because then the people would be incentivized to want to go to the park where they're traveling to. So it really could play off pretty well if they take this era, as I would call it, of the theme park boom, as I like to call it. If they do it right, they go to the right markets, and they play their cards right, it really could be a great strategy. And, you know, especially some of these chains. Now, I'm not saying just chains. I think it would be good for, you know, families or whatever, you know, smaller companies to open theme parks in these markets, because, I mean, you know, near me, Hershey Park and Knoebels, both great parks. You know, Knoebels is a great example, you know, a family-owned park and just a great option. But even the chains, from the corporate aspect of these chains, the way they could look at it is getting their name out there. And, of course, overall, I just think it would be good for, you know, some of these markets that have been untouched, basically, to be developed and add a theme park to these markets that are, I don't want to say that they've been unfairly treated by not having a theme park, but at the same point, I do think it would be a great strategy. And if, you know, whoever decides to open a park in one of these markets that lacks theme parks, it would be great. But overall, I just think that currently we are in a time or an era where we are experiencing a boom in the theme park industry, especially since we've gone so long without theme parks. Now, I mean, you know, we had tons of good theme parks, and, you know, they were great, or amusement parks, whatever you want to call whatever park you go to, or whatever parks you've been to. But we did see a drought in theme parks opening, but, you know, now we're back to a point where we're seeing a lot of theme parks opening. We're experiencing a boom. But overall, if people, you know, I say this a lot of times, but it really could be good. And I hope whoever builds more parks, or whoever is opening more parks, I hope they do it good. I hope they do it right. I hope there are good lineups in these parks, and I hope these parks are good parks. But overall, we are currently in a boom of theme parks. But yeah, that's all I have to say in today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you go down and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.